Oh, it's contact. There's contact. And there's contact between Cheryl Paul and Campbell Pilling.
Good morning and welcome here to round 4 of the Daniel Ricciardo Series at Hooton Park. It's me, Ben McPhillips, joining you, and we are looking forward to what should be a great meeting here. We've got 3 races and 4 events overall across the 3 different classes. First up is the qualifying for the DRS62s, who have already formed up here on the dummy grid. Just seeing the results for the DRS100 warm-ups, and already quite notable actually that there's a 4.5 tenths difference between 168 Connor Scarisbrick and 130 Liam Karabalov. We'll touch on that a little bit more later on. That just in the evens, of course, they're split into the odds and evens. For the warm-ups, they will form together for the remainder of the day. Only split back at Shenington. But for now, the focus on the DRS62s, and we'll keep a close eye, of course, on the battle at the very top of the championship. You can see on the screen right now the track layout here at Hooton Park. There's a couple of good long straights here. Actually, the third one too, just coming out of turn 3. The major characteristic here is, as well as those straights, good few double apex corners. Turn 3 is one where you really just look at the one apex and then you kind of have it shallow out, if you will, at the exit. And the carts will try and straighten themselves out, the drivers looking to take the path of least resistance around there. Then turn 4 could be classed as 2 corners, but it's effectively one long sweep with 2 apexes just towards this near side of the track, just to the inside of turns 1 and 2, the infield, as you might well want to refer to it as. And then the quick S-bend going into the double apex final corner. Important to get yourself a good run out of there coming on to the start-finish straight. This weekend, of course, marks the weekend, the end of the week in which the man himself, Daniel Ricciardo, has gotten back into Formula One with AlphaTauri, of course, and I wonder if some of these DRS62 drivers will have been taking some inspiration from that in their bid to try and emulate their hero and discover some success. Just a couple of moments to go before they get out there. Of course, it's worth noting that we've got the split of classes in the DRS62s. We've got, of course, the yellow plates, the experienced drivers. They do actually have a slight technical advantage over the black plates, the novices or the rookies. Go through the championship standings at the moment. So Ashton Redpath leading things just ahead of Oscar Roach. Very, very little to choose between the two. Redpath, number 8. Roach, 129. Keep a close eye on those throughout the session. And now they come out onto the circuit and head towards turn 1. And one of the potential talking points is we got a spinner out there at turn 1. Looks to be 112. It is indeed Henry Marson, but getting back away safely. And when we went on the track walk earlier, the track looked not necessarily dirty, but there was plenty of rubber pickup offline. And there were some puddles out there as well, particularly on the exit of turn 2 on the racing line. From what little we've caught a glimpse of on the cameras, we have the same perspective as you do, watching on DRS, watching on YouTube, and of course on Facebook too. Looks like that's been dried out back there. So that will please the drivers as we now see them just starting to come around on their first flying laps. And it's Roach who comes around first in 1:29, who will be looking to set the benchmark, followed by Redpath number 9. Around the final corner, and the first lap time we're seeing there from Roach is a 41.693, and that's just under a couple of tenths ahead of Redpath, but taking the top spot then is Harley Drake in 8th, 41.638. That's just half a tenth quicker at the moment, as I'm sure with the track still being relatively green, we've had overnight rain. Thankfully, the wind nowhere near as severe as it was yesterday. As we're seeing there, a Drake there, just in the middle actually of a pack of novices coming around turn 4 and 5, as you see Roach coming down the front straight on the stream. And getting a bit of a swapper on there was Drake as he was coming through the exit of turn 4 there, as a couple of carts go side by side into turn 1. And we were just about to mention earlier, right as they went out on track, before we had that spin from Henry Marson, we were going to remark on the new rule coming in about the drivers going over the white line. They tried to do that going into turn 1, and there was a big move from Roach just going down there a moment ago, as you see that there just again. I believe that the ruling is being applied going more over the curbs. It still looks like the drivers are taking some liberties on the entrance to turn 1 there. As we've seen now, Drake going back to the top of the timing. So indeed, the times are coming down with the this green circuit. And Drake now back on top after Redpath and Roach beat the initial lap time that Drake set. And now just a couple of tenths, well, back up to a couple of tenths between them, but Roach goes over the line with a 41.397. That's just under a tenth slower from Oscar Roach there. And top of the novice class is Carter and Skip Clarkson, currently in 5th, 6 tenths off of the leading pace set by Harley Drake. And we've been told that the deficit for the novices is around about half a second. So Skip Clarkson, once he can get rid of that novice plate, it's that's a pretty good lap time there. Going to put him right in the thick of things, as we see Redpath there just going through the first couple of corners. Some of the curbs here at Hooton Park, if you get on the standard blue and white curbing, that's okay, but if you go beyond that, and of course with the new rulings coming in, you're absolutely definitely not going to want to do that now, but you definitely weren't going to want to do it to begin with, because there's some awful curbs out there with some real big dips in them that you're going to really hurt the car, probably hurt your back as well, to be fair, going over them. As Roach closes in to 3.5 hundredths of a second on Harley Drake's current pole position time. And for those of you new to the Daniel Ricciardo Series, myself included, you'll be joining me along for the ride here throughout the day here at Hooton Park. We have points awarded for qualifying, and looking for maximum points as he comes over the line is Oscar Roach, going fastest by just under a couple of hundredths now, but Drake right back on top once again, and Drake looks to be the driver to beat here this morning. Drake managing to get himself top of the timesheets in our last round out at Clay Pigeon. But not being able to take the win yet in any of the heats or in the grand final as of yet. Looking to put that right this weekend. Seems to be a driver that is coming on over the course of the season. Inskip Clarkson, meanwhile, closing into within half a second and actually running ahead of Lucas Esser. So getting in the mix with the yellow plates. As we've got just a minute to go now. So those crossing the line now, and I believe that's actually Drake just going into turn one, making a move. Looking for the chance to get into some clean space and get that big time final lap. We've seen the lap times coming down throughout the course of the session, but now just coming towards the last chance saloon for these drivers in their bid for pole position. Drake at the moment just going in towards the S-bend before the final corner. And so now starting his last lap, an improvement to 41.057. So that's just over a tenth and a half now. And that's going to be the benchmark for Oscar Roach and Ashton Redpath to try and beat. Checkered flag now out. Drake having to make a move there going into the S's. Wonder if that might have slowed him down. It'll certainly not be a problem as far as Roach or as Redpath are concerned. It does look as if Harley Drake here is going to wrap up pole position. Indeed he will, as Lucas Esser in the end moving up to fourth. Just over half a second off, but getting ahead of the DRA of Carter and Skip Clarkson. And that then rounds out the qualifying session for the DRS62s here at Hooton Park, as Harley Drake going fastest in qualifying and back-to-back weekends, and that of course with the way the point system works here, going to be a little bit of a championship boost in addition to having the point to begin the first heat race later in the day. That coming up at 11:55, heat one there for the DRS62s. Next up for us is the DRS125 qualifying session. Qualifying sessions, 8 minutes across all three of the classes here in the Daniel Ricciardo Series. Race time now, DRS62s about to get their first heat underway. Be out on track in just over a minute from now. And on the point is Harley Drake, 41.057 to be exact, a tenth exactly quicker than Oscar Roach. I think Ashton Redpath may have been a little bit disappointed to be over 3.5 tenths back in third. And leading the Academy class, Carter and Skip Clarkson back in fifth, 41.647. Very competitive lap time there. We understand it's a slightly detuned class amongst the academy drivers, and that the difference in time there, estimated to be around half a second, as there's a problem for our pole sitter getting off the dummy grid. Finally getting away, all seeming to be good. And so they'll generally try and get this first sighting lap away at pace to try and get some temperature, and then at the end of the next lap they'll form up and we will hope to get a start. See some of the officials beginning to emerge out onto the circuit. Andy out there just giving the signal for one more lap. Seem to be quite spread out. They'll do well to get in formation here. Looks like they're already beginning to. There is so that I believe would be our third place man there, Redpath. With the arm raised, looks like all good there now, and we are indeed formed up, almost just one car lagging back there. Now just getting onto the back of the pack, and they are in formation. They were told keep a steady speed. It looks steady at the moment. You'd have to expect that we're going to get this underway first time around. Here we go, coming out of the final corner. Drake, pedal to the metal, we're underway. And 3 wide going into the first corner and taking the lead. And perhaps an up and under coming there, as that was Redpath going for it, and looks to have... No, they wave it off in the end. A full start. Seems surprising, just given the way that Drake looked to come down real good, and then just that second phase, as they sometimes refer to it, is in the acceleration, just didn't quite seem to get the jump. And so back we go again, and you wonder if there will be any kind of talking to. Looks like they may well be being told to stop there as they come around. Seems much slower as they come around this time. So too quick, we're being told, on that full start. So here we go, second time of asking, and this time Drake does get into turn 1 first. Believe it might well have been their Redpath that's moved up to second on the inside. He has indeed. And it's the DRA actually of Inskip Clarkson moving right up to third. So the inside of the grid there, getting the jump. Redpath now just looking to pressure Drake as we come back onto the start-finish straight and complete the opening lap. Drake taking that. Actually, Redpath has taken the lead. Our apology. Drake takes a big ride over the curb there. That's where you don't want to get out. So Redpath taking the lead. And looking for a way through there was Roach on the approach to turn 3. Taking a wider line there into the second apex against Clarkson. Keeping pace so far with the front 2. A few different lines coming through the S's into the final corner there. And now here we go. Redpath leading Drake. As Lucas Esser there setting the fastest lap. Move for 7th there. Ruben Jenkins moving ahead of Freddie Budd. And Drake looking for a way down the inside there off the exit of turn 3. That's not really an overtaking place into the entry, sure is, as Redpath takes that wide line into the second apex there at 4, and looks like that just enables him to pull away a little bit there. Top 5 right together. And the DRA right in the thick of it. Great for the Academy driver there, although he's just lost the position there to Oscar Roach, and Roach now will look to close in on the front 2. There's just a little bit of a gap there. 0.3 of a second as a move coming into turn 3, and Drake taking the lead. And that allowing Roach to close that gap immediately as they head down to turn 4, and we see the move. Wonder if Redpath there maybe just didn't quite get the exit out of turn 2, and Drake making the move to the inside in turn 3. We see them come back around now. Looks like a move. Is that a... No, not a move for second. Roach was looking to the inside there. Maybe just looking for some clean air for a split second. And that going to be a move for 4th there. Lucas Esser. He gets alongside, but he won't have the line going into turn 4, and Inskip Clarkson keeping the place. Redpath wanting to get back into position for a move here as we come through the final corner yet again. Inskip Clarkson just beginning to drop away now from the front 3. And, oh, a big move, and Roach suddenly going into the lead from 3rd. And now Drake past Redpath for 2nd, and is that a problem there? Drake tapping the right-hand side of the helmet, and Roach suddenly just rocketing past, and there must have been a collision there. Yes, that was so that was a strange one there. It looks as if Redpath maybe had a problem coming out of the last corner, just suddenly seemed to be a little slow, and all of a sudden Roach is past the pair of them, and now a move on the inside of the final corner and through the second apex there. Not sure that was a place where there was going to be a move on for Ashton Redpath, but he's climbing all over the back there of Harley Drake as they come through. Turns 1 and 2 once again, maybe a move for 4th going into turn 3. Looks like Lucas Esser has completed it this time, although they're still side by side, and Inskip Clarkson is not giving this up, but he finally has to concede as Esser, it appeared, just got the better drive, the better traction down that short straightaway from between 3 and 4, and getting ahead going into the first apex, and that now will be Inskip Clarkson, you suspect, dropping off of that front pack, but great effort to hold on for as long as he did there, as further back there, Jakob Salt in 6th ahead there of Ruben Jenkins. And there we see the battle for 8th and 9th. It's a pretty good one there between Bud and Lyso. And maybe wide there indeed. Yes, Bud wide, and could be position lost as they're side by side going into the first apex of turn 4. And then they take those different lines, and might that allow Lyso there to get the up and under? It does indeed. But then Bud able to take that wider line into the final corner, but it doesn't seem to give him the advantage coming down the start-finish straight. Back up front, meanwhile, Drake closing right in on Roach now. Roach had opened up that little lead after that double move, coming down the start-finish straight. But the lead seemingly evaporated, and Drake just after qualifying, it just does feel like maybe he's got a little extra that maybe Redpath and Roach don't. Here they come into 1, the wider line there from Drake. You're not going to get the up and under into 2, but you can certainly let him know you're there if you're Drake, and Roach taking the defensive line going into turn 3. That might allow their Drake to get the up and under, but it's smart driving there from Roach because he knows there that he's got the inside for 4. Through the 2 apexes, and that defensive move really well timed, but putting alongside almost there, going into the S-bend is Drake, who's now going to take that wider line and gives him the advantage. And I think Roach may be a little wide coming off of the final corner, and here they go. 2 minutes to go in this one, and it looks like a move for second. It is indeed Redpath. So as Roach gained 2 positions down the start-finish straight earlier on, he loses them there just a few moments later, and Lucas Esser now right on the back of the trio, and we might well now have a 4-way fight for the lead, just as we were thinking earlier that Roach, with that little lead, might be able to control things. Not to be. Here they come into the S's. Redpath just taking that tighter line through that final corner. Drake holding on to the lead for now. And now the move from Red. Wow, that was a late move, but Redpath makes it. And that's going to cost Drake momentum. And could that let Roach in for a move maybe? Or we'll see Lucas Esser. Oh, that was a late move there from Oscar Roach. And wide, it looks like may have been their Redpath through turn 3. And is that a... No, not a problem, but Drake almost there, putting alongside. That was such a late move there from Redpath, just so much quicker going into the corner and that tip of the helmet. So, less than 40 seconds to go, so 2 laps from here it would seem, as Redpath leads them again into turn 1. Drake second, Roach first, Esser fourth. Looks like all of them have got a chance to win. They're coming up on a back marker there. Believe that'll be Marson in 112, as Drake again looking to get that up and under into 4 and almost pulling alongside, but then they have to navigate that traffic. And Esser there having to compromise his line through turn 4. I think that might have cost Esser more than the other 3 potentially, just dropping off a little bit. So now it's going to be really close. So we see they put time on there as our timer goes. No, it is going to be the last lap. So Redpath leading Drake, and Redpath stretching it out there going into that first corner. A good lead now, about 0.2 of a second. Taking the defensive line, however, is Redpath defending fresh air there. Hopefully he doesn't come to regret that. Drake closing it. Drake gets a great run through 3. Every lap he's getting a great run through 3 and almost in position to make a move. Taking the wider line in 4, and Redpath maybe just a little wider than he would have liked to be on the exit. They go side by side, and actually it might be Roach making the move, and almost a collision there. Looked like Drake got out of shape, and Roach takes second into the S's. Wouldn't expect that to be a pass in place, but it's Redpath who wins. Roach second, Drake first, Drake third, Esser fourth. Plenty going on towards the end of that one. Inskip Clarkson in the end, the leading academy driver, very comfortably after that fantastic first half of the race where he was right in the thick of the action up front, falling back in the end to just under 4 seconds off of the leader. But it's Redpath with that really aggressive late move going into turn 1. Taking the position as we see the replay of the fight, the second going towards the end. It looked like Redpath had run a bit wide, and there definitely was contact. Drake and Roach there, and Roach just was quite strange because Roach looked like he might have been trying to set himself up for a run after Redpath just ran a little bit wide on the exit of 4, but then just maybe a little bit slow, accelerating up to top speed, and allowed Roach to get to the inside, and then they were both fighting effectively for the same piece of tarmac. It's really a single line going through that S-bend. But in the end, it's Roach that comes out on top, and Drake losing gout as they just came together slightly there. Wonder if maybe there'll be anything from race control on that one. Certainly a little bit of contact. There was a bit of moving in the braking zone at one point going into turn 3. I believe that was from Oscar Roach earlier on in the race. So maybe a couple of things to look at there. Sure, we didn't see any warnings coming up on our screens. So for now, as it stands, we have the results as Redpath taking the victory of that late move into turn one. Oscar Roach second. Harley Drake being denied at the death there as Lucas Esser fourth. And then we go through the standings as Inskip Clarkson with that excellent opening to the race taking fifth. Then rounding out the results, Sulk in sixth, Jenkins in seventh, Bud in eighth in the end came out on top of that battle for eighth place, and it's Loiseau in ninth, Sidhu 10th, and Henry Marsden rounding out. Next up is the heats the first heat for the DRS125s. We'll see the 62s out on track next up after the lunch break, and it'll be at 1:30 for them, 1:35 that we'll see them out on track for their previews. Welcome back to Hooton Park for round 4 here of the Daniel Ricciardo Series. It is time for the pre-final for the DRS62s, who put on an absolutely incredible heat race earlier on in the morning. It's been a shortened lunch break here. The red flag clearly not quite enough to set us behind on schedule. So on schedule we are. Drivers are due to be out for this pre-final in the 62s in just a couple, well, just under actually 2 minutes. And of course it was Ashton Redpath that ran out the winner in the opening heat, managing to get ahead of Oscar Roach and Harley Drake. Roach actually took the lead in a double move on the start-finish straight. Looked like it was Redpath there that just got a slow run out of the final corner, and then Roach, having made that move, then was victim of a similar circumstance just a few laps later. And in the end, it was Redpath with that late move on Drake in turn 1 that managed to steal the win. It felt like, if you look at qualifying and you look at the early part of that race, it just felt like Drake maybe had a little bit more ultimate pace. Whether or not that was a case of Redpath just holding his cards and then not showing them until when they needed to be shown at the critical moment, or whether Drake simply wasn't able to capitalise on what he had in him. Maybe we'll find out a bit more about that in this pre-final. We actually do have a problem for, I think this is Harley Drake. Actually can't quite see the number from there. It was indeed number 8, so either way, he is away, and we are ready with the full field of 62s to go. This means that those that were behind Drake are going to have to put pedal to the metal big time, much more so than usual on this initial lap away from the dummy grid. In any kind of trouble are already heading towards the S's, those that were ahead. And well, they're going to continue going around. I'm not sure why they decided to form up that quickly. You wouldn't normally have gotten a start first time around. So Redpath will be on the inside here, the pole man, and it'll be Roach alongside him. Drake had the difficulties getting away from the grid, but he will start third. And it might be worth having a look out for Carter and Skip Clarkson on this start here, because He was right in the thick of the action early on. So they come towards the final corner now, just into the second apex now, and off of the corner they come. Looks like we are ready for a start. It looks fast, but it's good. And away we go, and well, it looked initially as if Roach got a pretty good getaway, and there's an offer, big off, bouncing across. The grass there is 111 Jakob Zulk, and looks like Drake, yes, he did indeed get up into second place. Off that start, the inside row seems to have a big advantage going into the inside line, I should say, seems to have a big advantage going into the first corner. If you're in second place, you're effectively starting third. Seems to be a trend throughout all of our races here. As we see a replay at the start, and there was contact with a 55 and the DRA. So that would have been Esser and Insip Clarkson, and then the 111 Jakob Salt went off. Kind of just ran wide really through the first corner. We come back to the action now as Harley Drake makes a move on the inside of turn 3 and takes the lead from Ashton Redpath. And this may be just another sign of that pace we saw early on from Drake in the heat race. Running a little wide through the final corner. Redpath doesn't get the chance to take advantage, but he might have a run going into turn 1. He made a late move here earlier, and he's going to do it again. That not quite as late as the one, and Roach will get it at the inside line for second. And so Drake falls back, but now he's looking back at Roach. Roach defending to the inside for 3, just dissuading Drake from switching lines there. I suppose there is always the option, if you're Harley Drake in that situation, to try and sell him the dummy, but if you do it, then you run the risk of getting a bad run off of the corner. And speaking of a bad run off of the corner, Oscar Roach was very wide through those 2 apexes, and Drake now, well, Drake seemed to lose ground along the start-finish straight, took the wide line into turn 1, but it was of no real use to him. And now Lucas Esser is in position. Drake actually looking backwards, heading down towards turn 3 there, as now they head towards 4. Drake coming through the second apex there. Narrow on the exit he goes, almost looking as if from that initial camera angle, as if he was shaping up a move. He was never going to, as here we see the move from Harley Drake just a couple laps ago before he was booted from first to third. This was his initial move for the lead, and then we see the move where Redpath got ahead into turn 1, not as late as the one in the heat, and then Roach taking advantage of Drake being forced wide and having to compromise his speed. And still just on the, as we were looking at the circuit, and now we're now back with the live pictures. It is Redpath leading, Roach second. Lucas Esser doing a good job of keeping ground with the front 3. And Inskip Clarkson appears to have a problem somewhere, because he's showing us 3 laps behind. So clearly something happening to him on possibly the opening lap. As here comes a move from Roach, and Esser trying to pull alongside as well, and they all hold position in the end. But they're all right together, and Lucas Esser wasn't quite able to stick with the front 3 in the heat, larger result of that inspired start from Carter Inskip Clarkson. And now the top 2 just threatened to break away a little bit. We go back now to see Ruben Jenkins in 5th, leading the academy drivers. And the battle for 6th behind. Jenkins having a good lead there, actually, among the academy drivers. A second over Loiseau, and then Jakob Zult looking to make the move here, going into turn 3, and he's He's got it. Yeah, good move there. Very clean move to the inside going into turn 3. And he now, you would imagine, will set off after Reuben Jenkins. And Carter Inskip Clarkson has been the dominant force among the academy drivers, but there's a class win up for grabs with his problems as Roach comes through turn 2 in the lead, about 0.3 of a second ahead of Ashton Redpath. They're just holding firm at the moment. They're not quite in a position to attack one another, but you just feel like this might be a little bit of calm before the storm. Redpath getting a really good run through the second apex of turn 4 there. And now they come round the final corner. It's very interesting how they take a wide line there. It's normally a corner where you'd expect them to try and hug both apexes, but they take it's almost a straighter line, I guess. They try to almost kind of straighten out the corner. As we see Roach there just defending a little bit into turn 3 in a scenario where Redpath wasn't really looking to attack. And now he's right behind Roach coming off a Ford. Drake having Lucas Esser close right up on him. But the gap between those two at one point was just under half a second. It's a lot less than that now, as here comes almost a run there for Redpath off of the final corner. And he's going to take that wider line now into turn 1. Just over 2.5 minutes to go. And once again, they're just beginning to edge away again from Harley Drake. Once again, Roach taking that defensive line into turn 3 in a scenario where he doesn't really need to. He's not under attack, but it seems to serve him well going through the corner. It doesn't seem to compromise his line, but his line is compromised through 4 as Ashton Redpath takes the lead going into the S's. Almost as if there was just a little issue on the corner exit of 4 there. And through Redpath goes. And there he is now taking that defensive line. Oh, and out. And this is Reuben Jenkins who was leading the academy. Oh no, that's such a shame. Clearly a mechanical problem. And we were talking, oh, did he spin out maybe? Because just looking at that angle there in turn 3, he was just bouncing across the grass there, and I wonder if maybe he had a spin and then just kind of backed into the grass and had maybe damaged the kart somehow. Hard to tell. On the initial glance, it looked a clear mechanical failure. Something coming off one of the karts there as Roach makes a move to the inside. And Redpath on the previous lap took the defensive line, but he didn't do it there. Redpath takes the wide line through the first apex of turn 4. Harley Drake was trying to position himself there, taking a wide entry into the S's, but as we see there, Roach looked like he wanted to make a move. They were just coming through what would have been a yellow flag zone for the problem for Reuben Jenkins. And what that means, of course, is that Jakob Sulk now leads the academy class. Roach again, just having a peek. And into turn 4 they go, and it looks like Drake has once again reduced the distance to the front 2. Redpath will lead into the final corner. Takes a wider line. 2 laps now coming up. And this is the last lap now. Doesn't look like Roach is going to be in a position to attack going into turn 3. If anything, Drake may be closer. Redpath still decides to take the defensive line. If anything, that's a bit too conservative. Roach not able to get the up and under, however, but he might be positioned to attack it at 4. He's going to try and go to the outside. No way through there. But now they come off of turn 4. Roach was trying to position himself to the outside. Redpath going really defensive there, and it might allow Drake to close in and make the move. And Drake might well, he has stolen second place, courtesy of Redpath going so defensive on that final lap. That was really opportunist stuff there from Harley Drake. Great racecraft there to see that Roach was going to be held up going through the final corner and just find a way to take it. Here he goes. He takes the wider line. We've seen it on the replay. And he just does the up and under, hoping that the space will open up going into the second apex. And once he gets front wheel alongside Roach's rear wheel, there's no way Roach can close the door. The horse is already bolted. And that's a fantastic move from Harley Drake to steal second place. I feel like he probably owes a degree of thanks to Ashton Redpath on that one. I wonder if that's maybe a little bit of championship gamesmanship. It'd be very, very early on in the season. I know we're into round 4, but it'd still be very, very early on in the season to try and do that. But if that was Redpath's plan, then boy, oh boy, did it work. So the final results, Ashton Redpath wins the race and he gets his rival Oscar Roach down a place, and Harley Drake snatching it there on the final corner. Lucas Esser finishes 4th, just 0.7 of a second off of the lead. Good drive from him. And then Jakob Zolk taking the Academy class victory in 5th place, courtesy of the problems that befell Carter Inskip Clarkson. And then later on, Ruben Jenkins. Would love to see what happened to him. Whether it was a mechanical failure as we first suspected, or if maybe there was just a spin somewhere and then he backed onto the grass and then damaged the kart as a result of a spin. It was Neo Loizo that finished in 6th, Freddie Budd 7th, Kai Sidhu 8th, Henry Marson 9th, rounding out those who finished in that DRS62 pre-final. Their grand final coming up. We are, of course, on schedule again after the shortened lunch. They're due to be back out at 2:35 for that grand final. And coming up in a few moments is, as you can see on the screens, those of you watching, the DRS125 pre-final. Right back on it with this DRS62 Grand Final. We're really trying to make up for the lost time here as a result of the incident earlier on. And we're just looking to make sure that we have the grid. Ashton Redpath, of course, on pole position. And it was 2 wins in a row for him. And this, of course, it's a bit of a mixed up grid because of the issues that Strictella line. No, it's because this grid has been set according to the points order, it appears. On our grid, we're seeing that Jakob Sulk is 5th, but then Carter Inskip Clarkson is lining up in 6th. Let's see if we can catch that on the screen, just to confirm that. No, that appears to be incorrect, because we can see DRA is back in the field. Yeah, back on the penultimate row. So it will be. So Sulk was the winner, and it was Loizo in 2nd of the Academy class. But what we know for sure is Ashton Redpath will lead the field to the start, and they start now. We're good to go. And looking for a move into second is Oscar Roach. And it looks like Inskip Clarkson, as there was a big battle right at the very back of the field coming into turn 2 there. Looked like a bit of an aggressive move in defence. Looks like that might well have been Jenkins trying to come through from the back of the field. But it's Redpath who leads from Roach. Lucas Esser has fallen behind, actually. I believe it's Zolk that's gotten ahead of him going into the first corner. And across the line they go. The lead is a 10th. Redpath back to Roach. And Harley Drake right on the scene and trying to pull alongside going into turn 4. I wonder if he's just shaping up for a wider line, looking to get the run on the exit. Roach is tucked up right underneath Redpath. Through the S's they go. Don't think Drake is going to make the same move he made at the end of the pre-final. He's not going to make it at this early stage of the grand final. And according to our timing screens, Lucas Esso, who was ahead of Jakob Zolk at 1 point, has fallen back behind him. We can see that as they go into turn 3 now on your screen. Roach moving into turn 4. That's not a pass we've seen much today, if at all. And Roach taking the lead from Ashton Redpath on the inside going into turn 4, but it looks like he's run wide through the final corner. They're going to come across start-finish line side by side, and Drake just putting his nose in there, and Redpath back in the lead. And Drake has to pull out of the move for second in turn 2. Well, that unusual move into turn 4 has set up a few unusual moves as Drake looked to take advantage in turn 2, which is not another area where we haven't seen the passing through the course of the day. But it's still Redpath, Roach, Drake. Lucas Esser, 1.8 seconds back now. Wonder if he's closing in maybe as a result of this fighting between the top 3. Yes, he is closing in. 1.3 seconds now, half a second almost. Could be a run-off of turn 2 for Drake. Tell a lie, it's Roach moving to the inside and he gets through into 3 and Drake's going to follow through and he's going to pull alongside of Roach going into 4 around the outside. And then Redpath's going to take advantage and get back down the inside in 4, and then Redpath runs wide, but he might well keep second place. He has indeed, but that's going to allow Esser to close right back up in the fight for second. And the timing of that move for Oscar Roach and the way things panned out was perfect for him, because as Drake goes to the inside, and the door firmly shut there by Redpath, and now Esser is going to pressure Drake. You'd imagine he'll have to run. Is he close enough? Not there, he's not. But the way that worked out there, with Drake pulling alongside Roach on the outside into 4, meant that Roach could take whatever line he wanted through the first apex of 4, and that compromised Drake and Redpath trying to get to the inside, allowed Roach to pull out what is now a 6/10 of a second lead. And wide almost there, Redpath. I think that was more Drake actually just taking a tighter line through the second apex of that final corner as we head back to we head back through the field, I should say, and we look back at our academy class, and Carter Inskip Clarkson, who's been the class of it throughout the weekend, and he's now back at the head of it, courtesy of having gotten past Jakob Zolk, and he has managed to make amends for the issue that he had in the pre-final. seems as if there's an issue involving Ruben Jenkins. I don't know if his transponder stopped working or he's now showing a 2 laps. Well, no, he'll be 1 lap behind once they come back round. Or whether, no, he's showing us stopped. I don't see anyone stopped out on the circuit, so that might well be a transponder problem. It would appear as if now, with Roach pulling out an extra 10th, the battle for the lead might well be between, or rather the battle at the front might well be for second between Redpath and Drake. Redpath just setting the fastest lap there, but then beaten immediately. Lucas Essa with the fastest lap, 41.574. And he has Drake keeping a watching eye behind. Roach once again continuing to pull away as Drake pulls half alongside. He'd be smart to pull out of that move so he doesn't compromise his line. And he does indeed do that. Lucas Essa now looking for the wide entrance into the S's. And once again, Redpath taking that wider line through the final corner. Drake still right with Redpath, and well, that's that. Redpath got a really good run through turn 2. Looks like they're going to stay line astern for the moment. Essa. Oh, and I think Drake again is going to pull to the outside of Redpath, and once again he pulls out of that move into turn 4. But it looked for a moment as if Essa was climbing all over the back of Drake, going through the apex of turn 3. The lead is now second, and Redpath is just looking to hold on to that second place. Just can't seem to shake off Harley Drake. Through turn 2 again. A little wide there from Redpath, but no harm, no foul. Redpath actually gaining a 10th on that last lap. Through they come around the final corner again. Drake, that time, emulating Redpath's line. It was Essa that was tight to the inside. There is Carter and Skip Clarkson. Ahead there of Sulkin 6th and second of the Academy drivers. And then it's the fight for third place in that category, and it's Loiseau ahead there of Freddie Butt. Not close enough there for Freddie Butt to make a move through turn 3. As we see just on the timing screens looking towards the front, it looks as if Lucas Essa maybe just dropping off a little bit at the back of Harley Drake, although closing up as we see them come by. And I think Roach has had a problem because Redpath has closed right in. They're right together now, all 4 of them for the race leaders. Here comes Freddie Butt trying to make the move onto the start-finish straight, and he has the line for turn 1 and gets by, but he was very tight to the apex there, but he's held the place, and that puts him third among the Academy drivers. And here now is that league battle, and Roach, who looked to have this in the bag about 90 seconds ago, suddenly under real pressure, and here goes Redpath with that wide line into turn 1, and he might be in position to make a move going into 3. Roach takes a defensive line. Harley Drake has a look, and they stay as they are. I think Harley Drake wanted so badly to have a look there in turn 4, but he just knew that. I think he learnt from earlier that if you try and attack there, you just allow the leader to get away. And they don't want to let Roach off the hook. You already did it once, you don't want to do it again. Looks like Lucas Essa has dropped off a little bit. Redpath again, all over the back of Roach through turn 1. But it's Drake who's closer to attacking Redpath through turn 2, and he's pulling alongside. And he's got it. And then, oh, brilliant stuff from Redpath. You could see he slowed down to try and get the switchback move there. But he can't quite get it done. And Roach now back out to a little lead. As we see as they were just approaching the traffic, but if you watch on the replay, look how Redpath just completely backs out. He knows there that there's no point trying to turn in on the front wheel of Harley Drake, so set yourself up for the up and under, and it nearly worked. Remaining as they are on this next lap, as we have just over a minute to go with this DRS62 Grand Final here at Hooton Park, round 4 of the Daniel Ricciardo Series. And it's Redpath looking for a way back through on Harley Drake, and Roach appears to be pulling away again. It was 3 tenths last time by, it looks a lot more now. It is almost 6 tenths. And Redpath all over the back of Harley Drake, clambering over the curbs. Drake running a little wide, but he should be okay. Coming into turn 3 here. Lucas Hesser is well and truly dropped off now. And so it's a 3-horse race, and not so sure it isn't a 1-horse race, and then the 2 horses fighting for second. Redpath looking for that wider line, but Drake looking pretty good through that final corner. We keep having time put on the clock. And we're seeing 2 laps now, 2 laps before the end of this one. Redpath. Oh, they touch. And I have to say, that looked a little bit half-hearted there from Ashton Redpath. Was never really truly alongside until Drake was well and truly committed to turn in. And it looked as if as well, Drake left room on the apex. I think Drake probably saw something coming there. And it looks as if now they've all dropped away from each other. And that's rather taken any sting out of the fight for the win. Roach almost 6 tenths ahead. Through turn 4 they come. It's a shame for Lucas Hesser there that he wasn't in any kind of position to take advantage of that coming together there, as through the final corner comes Oscar Roach to take the victory in the DRS62 final. Roach the winner, Harley Drake second, Ashton Redpath in third, Lucas Hesser fourth, Carter Inskip Clarkson comes through to win the Academy class. It's been a real day of ups and downs for him, but he ends on a big high, coming through the Academy field very, very comfortably indeed, leading Jakob Sultkonen by 6.2 seconds. But the overall honours go the way of Oscar Roach, and it'll be interesting to see whether or not there's any action there, possibly a warning maybe against Ashton Redpath. You have to wonder. Nothing's come up on our screen yet. We will catch up with race control before we end things here, but the fact that nothing came up right away would indicate that there's no harm, no foul there on the part of Ashton Redpath. As that is our overall podium here. Oscar Roach, Harley Drake, Ashton Redpath in the DRS62 Grand Final. And Carter Inskip Clarkson, after the misfortune in the pre-final, coming through to win the Academy class in the Grand Final. Next up for us is the 125 Grand Final. Welcome to our podium ceremony here for round 4 of the Daniel Ricciardo Series here at Hooton Park. What a fantastic day's racing it has been across all 3 of the categories. It's time now to give out the trophies to those that were fortunate enough to place on the top 3 of the respective races. So, starting with the DRS62s, and we will start with our academy drivers first of all, and we will first call over the 3rd place finisher, Daniel Ricciardo.
We can't hear because of the mic, so what have you just announced?
3rd. And our 2nd place academy finisher in the DRS62s is Jakob Schulz. And to our academy winner for the DRS62's grand final, who came through from the back of the field after a problem in the pre-final, was Carter Inskip Clarkson. And we're just starting to feel some raindrops here at Hooton Park, and I'm sure the drivers will be happy for it to rain on their parade now as we begin to announce the DRS62 overall winners. And in 3rd place, Ashton Redpath. Our 2nd place finisher, Harley Drake. And in what was such a close battle all day for the top spot in DRS62, the overall honours, 1st place, Oscar Roach.
Oh, right, okay, so then do 1, 2,
Oh, right.
Yeah. He came last. Yeah, he came last. I wonder where it comes from. How many do you want to see?
Ones I've done. I've done 2.
Next up, our 1-2-5s, where our rookie winner was Thomas Dackins.
Well done, invisible time.
I can go.
Some confusion over the classifications of novices for the meeting, I believe, may have caused the absence there of Thomas Dackens for this ceremony. So we will move on now to the overall honours for the 125s. I'm reliably informed that for third place, it was the first senior race for in the 125s, and he gets up into third place after the race. Henry Foote. And here to promote a good cause, a great cause, as well as to race, was our second place finisher, Ethan Critchley. And our overall winner in the DRS 125 is a clean sweep for Sam Faulkner.
When you announce Dackens again, because he's here.
Okay. And arriving now to our podium ceremony to take his honours for best rookie finisher is Thomas Dackens. And now on a thrilling day, the most thrilling of thrills produced by the DRS 100s. We will first introduce our rookie winner, Jakub Milczarski. And now to our overall top three finishers. In third place, Sherry-Ann Powell. In second place, Connor Scarisbrick. And snatching victory at the last gasp was our winner, Charlie Ratford. And so that wraps things up for the Daniel Ricciardo Series round 4 here at Hooton Park. An absolutely fantastic meeting and action from the very beginning, the DRS62 heat, all the way through to the end of the day with that last lap pass for the 100 honours. That's it from here. We'll see you next time.